and welcome to the Africam show. So excited to be here with you as usual. We're going to go around the different cams that we have placed across Africa. And we're starting off at the Olifants River with some very sleepy hippos and a little hippo too. Yes, come out so we can see your big, rotund, barrel-like body. So as we move across the different cameras, we are live and interactive, so you can send through questions and comments. You can tell me how you're doing, how you're enjoying the show, what brought you to Africam. If you're a new viewer, whatever it is, let us know. We have a lovely Africam community, and we love to get to know each other. And of course, get to know the wonderful animals that we have the privilege of spending time with. Now, I particularly like this Olifants River camera because it's obviously you get the wonderful sound of the river, the flowing water. It's just a beautiful, calming sound. And even though being out in the bush is an exhilarating thing, it's thrilling. But at the same time, if you can, you'll find that there's moments of peace and quiet to be had, even if you happen to be looking at one of the most dangerous animals in Africa, the hippopotamus. But look at how peaceful they look. Eyes closed, just having a little bit of a nap. Now, I'm not sure what the temperature is at Olifants River at the moment, but we're still in the thick of summer, so temperatures are going to be pretty high, and that means that the hippos are going to be mostly submerged until the sun eases up a little bit. But what's also nice about this camera is that the vegetation is super dense around the river, and that means that if things get a little bit too hot, and maybe for some reason they don't want to be in water, there's little pockets of shade, and they can even go under some bushes. This is such a common thing to see across all mammals, and I love it when we see this. Whether you're a human, or you're a chakma baboon, or a hippopotamus, or an elephant, or a leopard, adults, they know how to figure out their routine and their time, how to spend their energy. Little ones, they're not so sure just yet. So everyone else can be having a nap and chilling, and the little one still wants to be on the move. I suppose there's just so much to be curious about. All right, we have some hellos coming through. April Owl, you say, good morning, everyone. You are eating a warm cherry muffin. Yum, very nice. And a cup of coffee with your vanilla soy milk. Sounds great. I just finished my cup of green tea. I know it's unexciting. I think it's not bad, though. I enjoy green tea. Casper's Third Ghost, you say, hello all from Milwaukee, hot tea ready. Yes, Casper's Third Ghost and I are on the same level today. Jan Powers, you say, hi everyone. Hi Jan, thank you for joining us. Kauru, you say, hi Trishala. Thanks for joining us, Kauru. Catherine, you say, hi Trishala, you're listening from the car driving home, so no drinks today. Very wise choice there, Catherine. But thank you for giving us some time while you drive. It's kind of like listening to a podcast. Bub Doggy, there we go. You say, love starting off my morning with hippos. Absolutely. And a young little hippo, too. They can be very entertaining. And as usual, thinking about the ways in which there are so many similarities just across the mammal world. Particularly behavioral similarities. Yes, we know morphologically or physically, we have pretty much the same body plan, just kind of compressed or stretched in certain ways to adapt to different environments and niches. But ultimately, it's the same body plan. But also, in terms of our behavior, we are so similar because ultimately, all mammals have the same fundamental needs. They want to take care of their young. They need to nurture their young to some extent. A lot of the time, they form bonds. but it's these kind of more nuanced behaviors like this, like watching this little one as the adults are sleeping. This little one's trying to get some attention, moving around, not getting attention from that side. What will you do now? Don't stray too far, though. Well, there are crocodiles in this river, but there seems to be some kind of unspoken truce when it comes to hippos and crocodiles in the river. I suppose that both are large, dominant animals, one being a predator, though, and one being a herbivore. But either one can cause significant damage to the other. So in that case, everyone stays away. But if a young hippo strays too far, that becomes an opportunity for a crocodile. Speaking of crocodiles, actually, so we're not going to head over to the Victoria Falls camera, but I was thinking about lately, and then I saw that Africam had posted on the Instagram page that the crocodile had actually bitten the hippo's trunk. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, there was a crocodile that seemed to have a problem with elephants at one of the water holes and kept trying to go for them. It was actually astonishing to watch. It's not something I've ever seen before. And eventually, it actually got the trunk of one elephant. So though there may be this unspoken truce between large and dominant animals at the waterhole, it's not always the case. And the bush teaches that there are very, very few absolutes in the bush. Oh, Kirsten's just said to me it's actually more than one trunk that the croc has managed to get. How very interesting. Luckily, there don't seem to be any agitated crocodiles here at Olifant's River. And the hippos can relax in peace, even though they too can get a bee in their bonnet, and they can quite often be aggressive towards other animals at the waterside. They're very territorial, and very protective of their watery homes. So when you see them relaxing like this, it says a few things to me. It says that they feel safe, they feel secure enough to let the little one kind of just roam on its own, that they feel comfortable. All these things that just make you feel nice and fuzzy inside. Well, this was a lovely, peaceful start. Kaoru, you say the black-collared barbet was calling in the background. Yes, it was. It's one of my favorite calls, in fact. Oh, Mum's waking up. Nope, I think baby just tried to suckle there. She wasn't taking it. No. So young hippos, they suckle underwater, and they're able to do that by closing their nostrils, but still creating suction with their mouths. So I think that little one dipped under and tried to get hold of some milk, and that's what disturbed that hippo. And now it's off again, going on the other side. Can I wake you up and irritate you instead? Nope, not having it. Wow, that actually looked like a foot. What are you doing? Where is it going to pop up now? This is a lovely game to play, by the way. Where's the hippo going to pop up? Sometimes you can see it, but if they're very deep, you can't see it too well. Oh, this one is just too cute. Come and do a little roly-poly for us again. Hippo feet are just adorable. Mum's showing us a little bit of the underside there. Paul Vincenti, hello. You say it's so wonderful to be able to see this from your here or there in Florida. It is wonderful, isn't it? That's the great thing about these cameras is that it makes wildlife, African wildlife, accessible to everybody, so we can all enjoy it. Traveling and going on safari can be really expensive. It can even be expensive for us locals. So to have these cameras, it just gives so much more opportunity for people to fall in love with African wildlife. Bridget McKenney has made it. Bridget says, hello everyone. You've come just in time. We were watching some hippos and now we are off to Aldonio where we are watching some yellow baboons. Come down, have a drink. Interesting. Where's the rest of your troop? I must say that this particular baboon this individual doesn't look in fantastic condition. The fur is a little bit patchy and a little untidy. Many animals, or I should say most mammals in the bush, tend to be very meticulous groomers, some more than others. Like impala, they're really steadfast groomers, but baboons as well. So her appearance makes it look as if she hasn't gotten a good groom in a while. I wonder if the rest of the troop is close by or not. Now, if they don't arrive, we could have an interesting discussion. Little baby, so sweet. All right, I'm not seeing the rest of the troop. I wonder if for some reason she's been pushed out, become a little bit of an outcast. They don't usually do that to females that have an infant. Sorry, she's left. Now we're back at OnlyFans. That usually doesn't happen to females with infants, because if she's got an infant, it means that someone's mated with her, most likely the alpha male. So, or at least he would think that it is. It's not. It's not. Yeah, it's unusual. Perhaps the alpha male got ousted in that group, and she thought it would be. Oh, we're back to hold on. And she thought that maybe it would be safer for her and her young one if she distanced herself from the group a little bit. All these, of course, are theories. We don't know until we actually see her interact. But if you have a look at her coat, hopefully you can see what I see. It's not the sleek and tidy coat that we used to see with baboons. Oh, she's giving us a little smile there. Very nice, girl. Baboons, whether they're yellow, olive, chacma baboons, they have really complex social relationships, alliances. They can even be, I suppose, conniving in a way. Well, once relationships like that start to form, relationships that are beneficial for for more than just reciprocal grooming, but beneficial because of your status, things like that. As soon as individuals start to use relationships as a way to better themselves within a group. Similar thing with hyenas. Um, that's when you really get an idea that they are particularly intelligent animals. Now, in particular, the intelligence of baboons actually and hyenas, spotted hyenas, has been comparable. Oh, look at her lifting up a little one's leg. That is adorable. Well, if she can't get all the spots on her coat, at least she can clean her little one nicely. And we have some more hellos coming through. Oh, Casper's Dead Ghost. We were just talking about the elephant at the Vic Falls camera. And then you said that you've seen at least 5 different attacks in the past week or so. Yeah, there have been a lot. It's very interesting. I'm sure we'll chat about it on Thursday or even next week sometime. Amberco, you say happy Tuesday all. Happy to have coffee and enjoy the Africam show. Thank you to everybody. Thank you for coming on board. April Owl, you were wondering about the hippo. You say, so the little hippos hold their breath while they nurse. Yes, they do. They hold their breath while they nurse. In fact, think about the way that you drink through a straw. Same thing. We don't realize it, but we're holding our breath as we're drinking through and creating suction to pull liquid through the straw. Oxygen 2 has made it. You say good afternoon, coffee break. We all knew it. Dana, you say hello, everyone. And Mr. H, UAE 87. Ooh, my goodness. You say today you have death cake. I'm assuming that's a chocolate cake. And Arabic coffee. Sounds like a good combination. Sanjeev Roy, you say you've seen crocs killing a baboon, but you've never seen hippos attacking a baboon. Um, I have not seen hippos attacking a baboon either. So what we were talking about earlier was um, an elephant that has been, sorry, a crocodile that has been attacking elephants. But I mean, we were doing that when we were talking about the hippos, and we were looking at the hippos, and we were saying that hippos can also be fairly aggressive, but we haven't seen them particularly go after any animal that doesn't really seem like a threat. They're always just trying to protect their territory. But I too have never seen a hippo attacking a baboon. Anyway, we're down here from Aldonio and down at Tau, and there's a lot going on. Oh my goodness. Little chicks as well. Oh, look at those tiny, tiny, tiny little goslings. Oh, that's just wonderful. Of course, you get our red-knobbed coot there. Lots of ducks here at time. I must say it's actually quite quiet. I don't know why, but I associate the Tau camera with a little bit more noise. We have the knob-billed ducks in the back there. The blacksmith lapwing. Looks like we have a black-winged stilt, or two black-winged stilts way in front. Thought I saw. Oh, there we go. White-faced whistling ducks too. I love how they're all just going about their business. Beautiful. You can also hear the shell ducks, African shell ducks, honking. Oh, Bob from Kalamazoo, you say you're a little late, but you made it. That's what counts. It counts that you made it. Thank you for thinking of us and joining us, Bob. So I'm just it almost looks as if these little goslings are following the black-winged stilt. But you can see that one of the adults is standing guard at the top there, making sure that the little ones don't stray too far. And this is the perfect little spot for young chicks, or well, water birds especially, to hang out because it's protected by the reeds and what unfortunately looks like a little bit of hyacinth. But it's protected, it's shallow, and it means that those watery predators that could potentially be a problem, like Nile monitors, crocodiles, they're not really going to get into the space. And if they do, you're going to see them very quickly. So it's a nice protected area for young little babies. Now, I would love if some elephants come down, of course, but actually, last Tuesday we had a really elephant-filled Africam show. So maybe I'll let it go today. But I always love to spend time with elephants. Looks like a quite a breezy day. Ooh, goodness me, that gave me a shock. Oh yay! It looks like unfortunately we're having a little bit of trouble with the old Donio camera. It's not very stable, but it's okay. We can still learn and watch. So hopefully this puts away some of the theories. We can see the rest of the troop is around. So she hasn't been ousted or she hasn't left, but it still could be that her relationships are not going very well because she doesn't look like she's been allo groomed in a while. Allo grooming is when animals groom each other, not just themselves. But like I said, these relationships can be so complex that we'll really have to watch her interact with others in the troop. I mean, over quite some time if we want to know what's going on. Oh, yay! We're across at Rosie's now. And it's my favorite sound of the bush. This is my favorite sound of the bush. The sound of the water trickling from the elephant's trunk. That sound right there. The leftover water falling out of their mouths and the end of their trunks. Gosh, I love it. Catherine, you made it home! And G&T is served for the rest of the show. Nice. Bob Doggy, you say you love seeing all these babies and of all varieties this morning. It is lovely. Maybe we'll get a nice little breeding herd come through. And a little elephant calf too. That would be amazing. I don't suppose... Oh, never mind. I'll keep quiet. Elephants have a very good way of telling you to zip it. I love this stuff. Doesn't it make you feel like we're right there at Rosie's Pan in Balulu? So I want you to notice something. And it makes complete sense, obviously. But this elephant drank. It drank before it decided to spray itself with water. And if you look at what's happened to the water as it's been moving around, you can see exactly why. All that sediment was sitting right nicely at the bottom and away from the surface, and that meant that the elephant could skim the water. See what it's doing right now? So before it started to drink again, it swirled the water around, clearing it from that spot, waited to let it settle, and now it's skimming the water just from the very top and stretching away from where it's been disturbed. Because as it was moving around and spraying itself, you could see the kind of the black soil, the mud from the bottom getting kicked up. And they don't want to drink that. Elephants are very particular about the water that they drink. they want the best. And if they can't get it from a waterhole, they'll go and dig it out of a riverbed. Now this elephant looks like it's talking to somebody. See, suddenly very still, movements are kind of almost absent-minded, and then suddenly it'll click out of it and start to move as usual. One leg up, and we've snapped out of it. I love watching that. It's such an interesting thing to notice when you're out in the bush. Activity as normal, and then suddenly stop, absent-minded, very slow-mo move of the trunk perhaps, of the foot, one leg up, and then they start moving again. Oh no! Where'd you go? It makes me feel like there may be other elephants around. That's promising. And I wonder, although I'm sure I would have heard about it, but I wonder if anyone has gotten a glimpse of Monty the python. Or is everybody still like me and hoping that Monty will show up even though we're well and truly over the hump of the summer season or the wet season? I'm still hoping. No more aliens. Sounds as if the one we had is also moved off. There we go. If you go. Just a slice of life. Just a slice of elephant life right there. And the only logical next step after you get a drink and you cool yourself down, have a snack. Mindy, Tilipal, that's a really interesting question. You'd like to know if there's some kind of valve or similar type of thing in an elephant's trunk that keeps the water from going all the way up into their sinus. As far as I know, there isn't, but I will check. I think it's a matter of control. And when we talk about, little young elephant calves, taking a while, taking sometimes a year, a little longer to really understand the movement of their trunk and the strength of it and how to create that suction. The practice is not just about the muscles and moving the muscles, but also about that control. And again, I kind of liken it to a straw. I'm sure we've all done this as children, but when you suck liquid up with the straw and then you put your finger over it, and then you kind of like, pick it up and empty it into your mouth. The trunk is something like that. So what I imagine is that they're able to create a vacuum to a point and then somehow stop that or create zero pressure change, that there's no movement in the water, and then be able to lift it up. So I would imagine that the movement of lifting up the trunk to deposit water into their mouths means that they can only fill up their trunk to a certain point, because if they filled up the trunk the whole way, then the act of lifting it up would cause it, like you were suggesting, to go, down into their sinuses. And as far as I know, I didn't think that they had any kind of special valve there, but I'm going to have a look and I'm going to let you know. And thank you again, Mindy, for giving me these ideas and giving me reasons to do a deep dive. Stitcher, you say you never see an elephant at Rosie's go in the water farther than this one is right now or was right now. although they do at other water holes. Do we know why? They do it at Rosie's too. I can think of one occasion when it's happened, and that was, remember when that elephant was chasing the hippo around? That elephant was going all through the pan. It didn't matter to it. Um, but generally, when a pan is pretty small, elephants don't do that because I guess it's not necessary. And by going into the pan further or going like, to the middle of it, doesn't really get them any benefit because it's shallow and it's small. So I would say that's the kind of parameter is like, is the pan, is it worth it to go into the pan? Probably not because it's too shallow and it's too small. Is it worth it to go into a large dam? Absolutely, because it can make a difference to the feeling of the water on their body. But it's a preference thing as opposed to something that they're avoiding. Generally, just as an automatic kind of survival response, animals are very, very cautious around water, even if there aren't crocodiles in it. But because they have learned over evolutionary time that there are water equals crocodiles and crocodiles equal danger, because they've learned that over evolutionary time, and that type of knowledge, that type of knowing can be passed down genetically, because that kind of knowing is associated with certain types of stress responses. For example, you have something like that, or we have something like that too, in response to snakes. Um, so we have an innate feeling of um, fear or avoidance or recoil when we see snakes. And it's actually really interesting, the people who care for and love snakes. It's something I've thought about a lot, is that how have it come this instinctual response, because it is instinctual. Because early humans, not even early humans, even ancestors previously, we're up at El Doño now. Sorry, I'm going on a bit of a rant. We're up at El Doño looking at the giraffes. I'm going to wrap up what I was saying very quickly. Um, Early hominids, when they went up into trees, they could avoid certain predators on the ground, but then there was a new predator that was a problem, and those were snakes in trees. And so it became part of a learning that was able to be passed on, because those learnings are, or those threats are associated with certain biological responses. And so those responses can be passed down. Oh, my goodness. I think all the animals are telling me to shut up today, one way or another. Well, that's a failed attempt if I ever saw one. Now, from here, the ossicones of the giraffe that this one was mounting look fairly fluffy, but I have a feeling it might actually be a young male, a young bull. Giraffe bulls often mount each other. It's a way to assert dominance. It's not unusual at all. I mean, I've read an article, not from a very trusted source, but I have read an article suggesting that it's actually a pleasurable activity for them too. Um, but how you were able to measure that, I don't know. The giraffes at El Doño are always a little more gutsy than any of our other cameras, I feel at least. They tend to kind of, I mean, like you were saying, Stitcher, giraffes are one of those animals that don't walk into a waterhole. No, no. They stay at the edge and they stretch out and they pop their heads in, stretch their necks out. But the giraffes at El Doño, They just seem to get right in there. Always feel like they're a lot more confident than the ones we see elsewhere. Karu, you say you were in response to me asking about Monty the Python at Rosie's Pan. You say no, you miss Monty. And then Bob from Kalamazoo, you say you haven't seen Monty this year. Oh, oh well, hopefully Monty will be back. Come on, get into the waterhole. Giraffes are very cautious, like I mentioned, for obvious reasons. Drinking is a very vulnerable position for them to be in. And so they tend to get put off by the presence of anybody else at the waterhole, even if it's just birds. But here at El Doño, I find that less so. They, I mean, the other day I saw, it was at El Doño as well. This giraffe walked straight into the waterhole even when an elephant was there. That's not something you see often. This particular giraffe, though, is behaving a little more like its southern African brethren. Extra cautious. The doves are putting it off. Hi, Alex. You say it's warm there in Africa and it's cold here in Russia. Absolutely. We are in different hemispheres. Luckily, where we are, actually, in Russia, you may have more kind of sectioned out or very defined seasons. So you may be able to say very clearly what your winter, your autumn, your spring, and your summer is like. But here in Southern Africa and in East Africa, where we're looking right now at El Doño, things are not so clear cut because our average temperatures are pretty high. So winter is, I mean, comparative to what you're experiencing now, which is probably like, minus 20 degrees Celsius or something like that, Alex. Compared to that, our winters are very, very nice. Very nice indeed. So our seasons are basically split into the wet season and the dry season because the availability of water is more important for us ecologically and for the animals than temperature changes because our temperatures don't change a whole lot. This is a little bit strange. It's like this giraffe's just trying to prove me wrong. I was just telling all the wonderful viewers how the giraffes here are very gutsy, and now you're being put off by all the birds that are around. Well, I suppose maybe it's just a little irritating. Our giraffes are not as fussy about the quality of their water as elephants, so that shouldn't be something that puts it off. But I can't see if there's, something quite dense, like algae, something like that. There's also a hide nearby. A hide is an area where people can walk in and kind of be at eye level with the water hole, and it's a way for people to be able to watch animals without the animals being aware of them. Um, I mean, we try. When people build hides, the purpose is that, or the objective is to make sure the animals can't tell that you're there, but very often they clearly can. So maybe that's what's happening as well. I mean, animals have sensitive hearing, mammals have sensitive hearing, and a sensitive sense of smell as well. And we don't realize it, but we can be quite noisy and we can be quite smelly. We use soaps, we use perfumes, lotions, etc. All those things that do not smell like the environment. And when it comes to the types of sounds we make, even the slightest one, it's not that we're making a sound that puts animals off. It's that it's not a type of sound they're used to, not a natural sound. I'm talking about clicks of cameras, um, opening up snack packets, things like that. Those are unfamiliar sounds. Either way, the giraffe has made it down, having a good old drink. Nice. Let's see if it's going to flick its head for us as it picks up. Nice. I always hope that one time I will see a giraffe flick its head with that trailing bit of water with such perfection that it forms a Fibonacci spiral. But unfortunately, they seem to, if they carried on with the swing, they'd be able to. Anyway, we're back over at Tau in South Africa. Remember, Old Donyo's up in Kenya. So back down at Tau and Madikwe, watching some zebra and a waterbuck walking away. And we had a question about the hippos. Sorry, and I know we're not looking at hippos right now, but I want to answer it before I forget because we've only got 3 minutes left together. There was no name given, but somebody had asked how long an adult hippo can hold its breath. The technical answer, the one that we see in books, is about 7 to 8 minutes, which is it's significant. You as a human can train yourself to do that too. But in my experience, I have seen them hold adults, that is, hold their breath for more like 3 minutes. 3 to 4 minutes at most is what I've actually witnessed. Young babies can only hold their breath for about 30 to 60 seconds, which is just enough for them to suckle. Ah, how lucky we are! We can see clearly that we're looking at a stallion. So zebra's genitals are usually retracted or pulled into its body, so you don't see it hanging out like this very often. So they're both males. Ooh, this is interesting. So we've got two males. The one that came in, like I said, you can't tell unless their genitals are out. But we know that those two are at least males. Oh, zebras fight a lot. And, oh, there we go. The whole situation. So they fight over females. So they want to collect females. Obviously, they fight for resources too, but not so much. And they're not really territorial. Their territory, a zebra's territory, is his females. So as he moves, the space in which his females are and the females themselves are his territory. So he defends them fiercely. When I mean fiercely, drawing blood. And the other thing is that when young young females, their own kin from the herd, even though the father will not want to keep his daughters in the herd, they need to disperse. But he's kind of like a protective father with a shotgun, in that when another male comes to steal his daughter from the herd, he puts up a grand fight. Even though he doesn't need his daughter to stay in the herd, he wants it to be out of the herd so that she can be collected by another stallion where she can actually mate. Anyway, that was a wonderful 45 minutes to spend with all of you. Please continue to watch the cameras at your leisure. If you think of questions you'd like to ask, then we'll meet again next week, Tuesday, and you can ask me all those questions. So thank you, everybody. I've had a wonderful, wonderful time, and I'll chat to you all soon. Bye for now.